It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. And I can turn the mics on when you let me know.
Okay.
Where are the two guys that are speaking?
They're all right there. And there's a young woman as well.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so that is working. How? That is.
Wasn't that me?
I'm so confused. Where's that?
That was, you just recorded it. I just did it's me coming back. Can you just delete that?
No, it's just live. It's just live. So. Yeah. Yeah, we are. We're sitting this right here. You should be able to watch it.
Are the FAA guys using that computer?
No, that computer ideally was. It's a long story. That was for this, but we're just gonna leave that up there.
Yeah, the thing is, I'll need to upgrade it to Windows 10.
So like last night, yeah.
But what I'll do is I'll take
And
notes.
does the web browser work?
Windows Edge, yeah.
Yeah, because they just want to use it to pull up a couple websites.
Oh, yeah. Well, then just you can follow up on that one. So it's working now. So now I think that should change to that. Then actually,
Everybody, we're going to get started in just 1 minute, but if you want some bottled water, there's some warm in here. There's some bottled water.
Long time no see, John. Well, it's been a few months. I didn't see you last year. Yeah. I'll talk to you. But I sent your money
Their kid, I realized it's such a bigger one than me. If we were trying to set up the eggs,
Okay, everybody, I think we're going to get just about started. So, once again, if you need water, go ahead and help yourself with some water. I'm going to pass around this gift board. So, if you are not receiving the listserv, this row that we send out every week or two that you can put junk in, you need to put your email address on here. And then there's going to be an email from an organization called Tiny Letters. You have to accept that invite, basically. And then you'll get all the stuff. If you don't accept the Tiny Letter invitation from the Hawaii Drum Club, you won't ever see anything as protect you against scam. Okay, done. All right, everybody, welcome to tonight's evening. This is the Hawaii Drum Club's meeting 15-5.
Yeah, closer to your mouth. So be clear clarity. There you go. Yeah, you go.
I'm sorry, I realize all of you here, we're broadcasting this over the internet. So we need to have it loud enough for the microphone to pick up so that people online can hear it. So we are in the Hawaiian Club, so we want to be inclusive of all cabins. So it's a lot cheaper to dial YouTube than it is to rock and roll. Okay, so we'll try that again. Tim, can you go to the next slide? Just hit the down arrow.
The next slide.
Down arrow. Okay, so some housekeeping items for tonight. Over here on your right, there's going to be a key right next to a light switch. That key is for the bathroom. So you can take that key, go just out this door to your left, and on the other side of this parking lot area, there's a restroom right next to a very small window. You're going to see a door, a very small window, and you just use that key to get in. I think it's a single-person restroom. So,
no key needed. The door's unlocked. It locks from within, so you just go straight to the bathroom.
Okay.
No key needed. Don't
take the key. And that's it. Other than that, it does get a little warm here, and so hopefully, please encourage you to stay hydrated. Club overview. I'll talk quickly about the club for those of you who are new. I will make some announcements, and we'll have what all of you are waiting our guest speakers, and then some time for some questions. So next slide. So for those of you who don't know, the club's been around basically 7, 8 months since the beginning of the year. Our mission is to promote responsible, productive, and fun or safe use of drones for unmanned aircraft here in Hawaii. So we're all about educating everybody and promoting safe, responsible. And you can see our mission statement there is to encourage a savvy community comfortable with emerging technologies and competent and safe investment use. Next slide. To do that, we have 4 mission areas. Our mission areas are education, advocacy, outreach, and fellowship. Education is simple, both internal, educating our members here within in terms of presentations, like we're having tonight, but then also educating the community, that's other organizations, just the general public, about the use of drones, about the use of unmanned aircraft. That's the education. Advocacy, we'll speak a little bit more, but that's working with government officials and organizations who are able to, in some ways, change or be responsible for some sort of policy and advocate on behalf. And that's mainly done through the Academy of Modern Aeronautics, AMA, which maybe later Richard will be able to answer your questions. Outreach, we reach out and do outreach with a lot of nonprofit organizations, and Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We've gone to Boy Scouts events. We're looking to get involved with Girl Scouts events, voting unmanned aircraft, and the education process. We also work with a number of ham radio operators, so we're just trying to foray into that for emergency management use. So that would be an example of outreach. And then lastly, flying in fellowship is an opportunity for us to get together as a community of interest, share with each other, have a fellowship with each other, and enjoy it. Anybody have any questions so far? Pretty simple. Okay, next. Some announcements. Richard, let me know if I'm speaking out of turn here, but I got an email from the AMA saying that the national dues are going up on September 15th. So for anybody, if you are not a member of the AMA, this is an AMA club. It's a great organization. We encourage you that if you have a UAV or UAS, become a member of the AMA. Right now, if you sign up before September 14th, dues are 58 and 45, but they're going to go up to 75. So long story short, sign up before September 14th. And you can also sign up for more than just 1 year. I think you can do 2 years. Additionally, we are looking for volunteers for the RC Air Show, which is the biggest little air show. It's happening out on Ford Island on August 15th and 16th, so that's in about 2 weeks. We're looking for volunteers, minimum of 2 people per day, so 2 people for Saturday, 2 people for Sunday. All we ask for is 4 hours. You'll get free admission, you'll go there, and basically just stand in front of the booth, be able to answer any questions, hand out literature. Education.
Try the other one.
And I'm sure that you can correct me if I'm wrong, but this was a follow-up question that from our last club meeting, and I spoke with Trendon a few weeks ago, and this was the number that he gave me to call within, and be flying within 5 miles of the Honolulu. So that was a question from last month's club meeting. For those of you who know, the FAA says that within 5 miles you are allowed to fly, but you do need to contact basically Honolulu Flight Control, and they'll get the final say. So I want you to call them before you start, and then call them when you're done. And that's the number. That's going to be on the website as well. And then at this point, I'm going to open the floor for any additional announcements that anybody has. I know it's 10 this year, you can only have like 20 announcements. Okay, I'm going to continue. Next. I'll keep this for a little while longer, and leadership positions. We are looking to have engaged leaders. So the AMA requires a vice president, secretary, treasurer, safety coordinator. So we have all these positions currently, but they're basically non-active. So we're looking for people who are current or about to be AMA members who are going to be able to dedicate an hour or two a week and engage in one of these areas. And then additionally, for those of you who are online, we're looking for island ambassadors from the other islands. So I know that George Purdy is a gentleman that we have who is on Lanai, and then there's also people who are watching on Molokai and on Big Island. So if you're hearing this right now, and you're on one of the other islands, and you're interested to be an island ambassador, you basically promote the one in our club, and this position on your island, please contact the club. And then also we're looking for a chair for each mission. So for example, if one of you wanted to be the advocacy chair, it would be your kind of charter to go out and work the advocacy piece with local legislators or political offices. Same thing on the education piece. It would be to set up the education curriculum on a monthly basis, both internal to the club and outside of the club. And then similarly for flying and fellowship, you would be the social worker. We're setting up flying events and flying in. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for people if they want to get involved and engage. And this is her community. I'm just kind of helping organize it. And I also have a full-time job and side activities. So it's difficult for me to commit significantly more time than I already do. But I would ask that each one of you just commit a little bit of time and do some really great work. Next. So some updates that we have, and I'll let other people speak to this here as well. In an education piece, I'm speaking to the Rotary Club tomorrow, talking about they basically wanted somebody to speak about UAV activity, and there is a Ted is doing he recently did an FAA demonstration, I think with you guys, and Peter, do you have something else on with you as well?
The first one, yeah.
Okay. And advocacy, Mike, I put your name up there on the letter. Okay. And outreach, thanks to Jen Lee and Eston, who's here in the front row, as well as Philip, and JJ. What was it? Ringo, yeah, definitely Ringo, yeah. There was a number of people that went out and supported Geek Meet, which was something organized by Ryan Ozawa and the Bite Mark Cafe organizers. It was a great time, and it was a lot of fun, and I appreciated the club going out there and supporting. It was hot, it was very hot, it was about a week. And then lastly, under flying and fellowship, nothing significant to report on that. So for every club meeting, we'll go over kind of recent highlights we have here. If you go to our Facebook page or the website, you'll see pictures from each one of these events. Next. So far, it's been about 7 months now, and I haven't asked for any money, but it's getting to the point where I really like to do it. So these events are not free. I had to pay for this facility as well as all the club meetings that we have. It's a nominal fee. You know, this one was $70 tonight, $75 tonight. But when you bring out some water and you pay for people's times, I'm really not asking for much. I figured if we could do $20 twice a year, that would cover basically the renting the facilities and setting things up. And also we have flyers that we hand out, education material we hand out. There's a board that we have up there that you spell over. That it's like a diagram to educate people. So this would be on top of your national dues to the AMA, where you would be basically like a club fund, and then we would vote if we needed to have any large expenditures, like hey, we want to get you a banner or something. So because I know as everyone as a good shopper, you want to see what kind of value you have as a consumer. So what I said is that for the club's value and for your participation, this is on the global level. The national AMA, there's a ton of resources from the national AMA. So everybody really highly encouraged to be a national AMA member. But at the local level, guest speakers like we have tonight, like organize and support local events, engagement in mission areas that I just talked about, and then increased AMA flying sites. So something that I've already done is all the city-approved model aircraft parks where you're allowed to fly model aircraft in addition to Quarry Road, there's like 6 others, Sandy, and some others, are all, I've registered them all as AMA flying sites. So all of the club, all of the parks here in Oahu that are approved model aircraft parks are also now AMA flying sites. And then lastly, exclusive member-only resources. That is kind of something to be filled in later, but I imagine something where, as a community, between ourselves, we have certain resources that we share with someone themselves, either it's information or opportunities, and so being part of that network will allow you those advantages. I will leave a hat, maybe on that back table, if anybody wants to make a donation tonight, cash, check, or I can send you an invoice if you want it, and you can pay like via PayPal. And again, this is definitely not going to be rich off this. It's really just to keep the club going, not only for myself, but in the future, as I move on, any future presidents, it's not disincentivized for them to be to take over a leadership position. Okay, Bent. So we can hover here for 10 minutes, or we can continue to press. It's just kind of felt like a good breaking point, depending on how long we're going so far. I feel it. You guys okay to keep going? Sure. Okay. All right. So let me just, before we get into our speakers, let me just, Tim, if you can minimize the screen within our website, so just hit escape.
I can do it some.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. And then just wideopen.org. So this is our website, and I encourage everybody to go there. You can see stay on the top. Up in the upper left, you'll see the login. You can log in with Facebook or Gmail or Google, and what it will do is you'll log into the account and you'll be able to tag all your activities, with whatever your individual name is, and or you can create a username password. Working from left to right, we have events, which is, if you click on events, that's a calendar. We're going to do a better job at keeping this updated, but for example, today's club meeting isn't on this, but ideally you have something there with today's club meeting. You can click on it, and you can find out more information, as well as links for additional activities. It's a great example. Yep. And then forums and groups. Now this is really where the value of the website comes in. So you can see the forums here. The Akamai Drone Prize, that was suggested by one of our members as basically a race, something where you would fly a drone around all of the 8 major islands in some sort of endurance race. That's as much as we've gotten on it so far, and we haven't. So if anybody wants to take that on, it's a champion mission. We haven't made up the rules or anything, but it would be a challenge for either high school students or some sort of university students or junior highs to compete in some sort of a challenge to use unmanned aircraft and all the associated technology. So that would be a forum for engaging in that type of prize. You can see the DLNR, the Department of Land and Natural Resource Engagements, drone racing, the drone partnership. I think on that one, Mike Elliott, or I was the last person to write on that one, education team, the advocacy. So you can see how each one of these groups would be allow you an ability to go in there and join in the conversation, post things that everybody else can see. And then we'll scroll down. One of the other was Project X. That was something we did with Shriners Hospital a few months ago, where we went out and worked with kids with mobility. So you can see all the groups. I'm sorry. Thank you, Joe. Go to that again. News about all that's being explanatory, and then over on the right, you can see the mission phase: educate, advocate, outreach, and others. So just maybe once or twice a week, go and engage with this website. Just like you're a participant in the club, you only get out of it what you're going to do. So this is a great way. If you do become a member and want to get more involved in the community, it's a great way to stay involved all the time. In addition to that, we also have the Facebook page, which I'm sure most of you know about, and that's also a very user-friendly way to do things. But the Facebook page doesn't give you any form user interface.
Sal,
Yes.
take a break for 10.
Sure. Okay. We'll take a break for 5 or 10 minutes and we'll keep going. So, talk about yourself.
Yeah.
It's not working?
Just come to me at the cross, and then also the
The link isn't posted up, so people are in the dark.
So I'm going to send you the link, and then can you send it out to people?
Yeah. I've seen you for a while. What's your name? Andy. Andy. Yeah. I remember. So, flying yet? Does the thing flying?
I'm trying to. I didn't.
I'm going to email it to you.
Is that counting tree? Two.
Oh, yeah.
Who else should I send it to while I'm doing it?
That's fine. I'm just going to repost it on all the.
Okay.
Dennis.
Okay.
That's why he's not here. He's been. Oh, you know how he rides motorcycles?
Yeah.
He was like riding every single day to 6 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
And then he goes to work.
Whoa.
Got it. Oh, it's YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can take a basis covered for your
The AMA.
yeah, the AMA.
Yeah, I mean I do, but I want these people who are they're not active whatsoever. So I kind of want to find out. I mean, they've said that they're completely okay giving up their position. I mean, are you one? You've always talked about wanting to take on a position.
Whatever. If you want me to take the VP, I'll take the VP. I'm gonna go straight to the point.
Yeah.
But I'm covered for AMA.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You've been an AMA member for.
My AMA is a life member.
Yeah.
It's like if you need the number, I'll give you the number.
Okay. So can you? Yeah. You want to write it down right here?
Yeah, Andy Ruiz. Label
Lima?
2266. 2266. Okay. Exclusive number.
Yeah, so we can do this. Everybody told me that I had construction.
Do you like it or you don't?
I don't know. I haven't posted it. I'm not posting it anymore. Are you interested in a
Yeah, put him in.
I have your email. I email you all the time.
You know what? Email me again because I did it. And then write my phone number 306 89 26 816. No, 306. Oh, 30. Yeah, okay. Squeeze him into something. Make him work.
What kind of position?
No, as long as you don't give me secretarial money, just keep me away from this. Because you know I'm still running that kind too.
Yeah, the other one.
Out of jobs. And what is this place anyway?
This is nice, huh?
What is it?
It's nothing but a meeting space. That's what it is. It's a meeting space.
That's what it is?
Yeah.
I thought it was like a bar or something.
That's fine.
Oh, you don't think that's just because this is? Oh, no.
No, there's an adjustment.
Yeah.
Later.
Later on, I'll keep this up. I don't mess all over. My notes that too.
Okay, guys,
Oh, it's Tim here too. Oh, okay.
They're muted.
did somebody switch to the bathroom or something?
Yeah.
Ready? Okay, guys, if we can start bringing it back in, we'll introduce our guest speakers for tonight. We'd like to have a guest speaker every club meeting, so if you have any recommendations on future months, who you'd like to hear come and present, just email the club either your idea or a specific person, and you can get a hold of them and beg, borrow, and bribe them to come out. So, for tonight, we have Ms. Debbie Sato, she's the Assistant Air Traffic Manager at Honolulu Flight Control, Mr. Tim Sillum, and Ed Alena. And you can see they're both with the FSDO. So without further ado, I'll have them come up. I think I'll also have Ted. Ted, are you going to join us? Okay, everybody come on up. Guys, round up. Thanks. I'm going to leave you guys this one, and I'm going to keep a mic for the audience.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Ned Santalena. We can go ahead on just the introductions and then we'll start.
Tim Sislo, I'm a maintenance inspector.
Deborah Sager, who's district manager for district
Ted Larson, and consultant at UA, generally belong on this panel, but Ed asked me to come up here. I'm not quite sure why, but we'll play that soon. Probably we're going to have it throwing the FAA under the bus, as you know, as opposed to sitting on the bus with them. So this is all new.
So basically what we wanted to do is, well actually just to give you a little background first. For Tim and I, basically on the FAA side, we mainly deal with certification with air carriers, the pilots, and the maintenance. And so when management came down and said we need representatives for the UAS, we volunteered. Because we didn't know what we was getting ourselves into. Actually, we've been having weekly telecoms with headquarters, with AFS 80. You're part of the FAA, but a separate division that basically has oversight of what you folks want to achieve. And we're basically hopefully going to be able to answer some of the questions that you folks had. We did get a lot of questions that Sal sent us, and I believe we will be able to answer them all. And I do have some handouts, basically a generic letter that headquarters has directed us to send out to all of the folks that are requesting to be operators. And when I mean operators, I'm talking about civilian operators that want to do this for compensation time. So with that in mind, I'll pass this along to Sal, and then there's actually two websites I want to show you. And Joe, let's start off with that site. You can go to this site on the FAA.gov/UAS, and as you can see on the left-hand side, there's public operators, civil operators, and model aircraft operators. I'm not sure if there's any government entities in the house, so I wasn't really going to address that. Somebody shaking their head, part of the government. So actually, what we're going to cover is basically the civil operations and the model aircraft operators. I guess the first thing to start off is, who in here is looking on doing this for compensation of hire? Okay, majority of you folks. So can we just eliminate the model aircraft operations content? Or do you folks still want to go over that?
Go over it.
Go over it? Okay. Hey Joel, if you can hit the model aircraft operations. And scroll all the way down to the bottom on the do's and the don'ts. And then click on that. So basically, in a nutshell, these are your do's and don'ts as a hobbyist. I'm sure you don't want me to read because we don't want to do reading by depth. Before we go over on the civil operations side for the commercial purpose, does anyone have any questions on what a hobbyist can do, or actually what a hobbyist is? Basically, a hobbyist is someone that's flying a drone for non-profit, non-commercial basis. It's pretty straightforward. You're not going to fly at night. You're not going to fly within 5 miles of an airport unless you contact a controlling agency and hopefully get approval to do what you want to do. You're going to be in less than 400 feet or above 400 feet?
Less.
You're going to be less than 400 feet? Okay. Any other questions on a hobbyist? Yes, ma'am.
Well, we have questions on flying near people, flying aircraft, or flying aircraft. What defines that?
Is that for a hobbyist?
Yeah,
right now, we've been working with the Honolulu Police Department. Right now, there is no city or state ordinances that are out there. I know they're working on that. So, on the FAA side, A UAS is defined as an aircraft. And an aircraft, there's rules that we apply to, and I'm not sure when it became effective, but they basically designated a UAS as an aircraft. And as you folks know, anything in flight, the government has sovereignty over it, and that's what the rules can apply. So if you're looking at somebody flying a drone over somebody's head, actually let's take a step back. Since it's an aircraft, if we talk about powered aircraft, there's regulations that impose height altitude and distance altitude away from persons or property. So if you're flying a helicopter, basically you can fly at whatever altitude you want to, as long as you're not going to cause any danger to any person or property. And that actually includes the helicopter itself. So if you use that mentality for a drone, you're not going to fly over somebody's head, and if something was going to happen, it's going to impact somebody in the front. But now you're looking at privacy issues. What's my definition of safety versus your definition of safety? So I think until the state comes to an agreement to figure out what kind of ordinances they're going to set in place, gotta go by just using common sense for now. By all means, don't take our word as gospel. Tim and I, we don't interpret the rule. We don't interpret the policy and what the policy is out. We're actually more the certificate. What we do is we certify, we surveil, we inspect, we enforce. Predominantly, our roles as field inspectors for the Honolulu field office, our flight standards office, is basically when you folks get your COA and your exemption, you folks are supposed to notify us within 3 days, tell us what you folks are going to do, and then that will give us the ability, if there's time for us to come out and inspect, make sure that you folks have what you're supposed to do. And if you don't, and you're doing it for commercial purposes, that's when the enforcement side comes in. And believe me, it's a long and arduous process, but that's the enforcement part. And that's what we basically, what we're here to educate. Basically, as soon as we found out that this is what we were going to be assigned to do, one of the first things that we did was we went to the Hawaii business site, and we basically put UAS, and we just, all these businesses that had drone or UAS or something in there, and we sent them that letter that it gave us out. So if you're in here, you probably got a letter from me or Tim, and basically, I think call this protection. That's why we're here now. You have questions?
It's just an initial, after 3 days you receive that initial meeting, that initial list on per event.
Actually,
can you repeat the question for the people online?
Yeah, the notification, the gentleman that asked about the notification about the 3-day notification to the field office. Right now, we're required, we input whenever, say Joe becomes a COA holder, and he's 1, 2, 3 drone. So what we're going to do is we're going to input him into our database. So now we know that 1, 2, 3 drone is Joe, the UAS operator. This is his phone number, this is his address, this is the type of UAS that he operates. So what will help us out tremendously is if Joe's going to plan on doing a film shoot down at, we'll just say Dillingham, and he's going to contact us. So now what we do is we let our assistants know, okay, there's going to be drone operation in Dillingham at this time on this date. So guess what? When the complaints start coming in, and they call the office, and the office says, oh yeah, there's an operator, he's doing a film shoot. That buries everything right there. If it doesn't, then that only there's a big answer. Yes, sir. Okay. Oh no, that's for commercial operations. Yes. Any other questions?
I believe I heard Ed say that you had to call the tower for permission if you are not a commercial, so if you're a hobbyist. All it says is that you call us and tell us that you're going to find a drone, on something. We'll approve or disapprove, and we'll take your name down and phone number, so that if we get a complaint, we know how to contact. But as far as permission goes, we don't say yes, we can, or we cannot.
That's correct. Actually, just to go off a little bit more on what Debbie said. Now, for you folks that want to do this for commercial purposes, that is one of the rules in your exemption that you cannot do. But you can but you have to request for a separate call. That separate call will give you the authorization to operate within the airport. But there's several things you got to keep in mind. One, you're going to get a separate call to operate at that airport, and two, you're going to get a letter of agreement with the authorizing management for the facility, which is basically Debbie's office. They control all of the airspace in all the airports in the state of Hawaii. So it's going to go through their office. They're going to do the approval. To my understanding, they also need to be in communication with the tolerance. So it's not because, hey, I got a call now and I have my exemption, I can operate at any other airport. No, you're going to get a separate call to operate at the Honolulu airport, which is probably never going to happen. Well, I can't say never, never. And or Molokai Tower or wherever. So you're going to get one for each facility. I saw. You have a question, sir?
Yeah, just answer, please. I was going to see if there's another number for farmers, flight lawyer, or filling in for.
There is, actually, you can go online and go on your NOS charts or with the Hawaii directory, and you'll have the number, and you'll call them top. Yes. And pretty much, I was going to say call them. So.
Sorry, thanks.
I just have one question. If you do get caught, let's say, is there a penalty you'll have to pay? I mean, how does that work?
It's a good question. Actually, there is. And when you look at the FAA's rules, we have different types of penalties. And there's civil penalties, and there's suspensions. And when we talk about civil penalties, that's a financial penalty. If you're a commercial operator, and I have to bring this up to headquarters because if you're a commercial entity, like a commercial, say commercial airlines, one fine is an $11,000 fine. That's one time. So now you compound that by, say you did 5 variants of enforcement, you're looking at 5 times 11,000. You're looking at 55,000. When it reaches a certain amount, then you get the U.S. Department of Justice involved. You probably don't want that. Now, on a personal basis, on a separate individual, instead of an $11,000 fine, it's an $1,100 fine. $1,100. Again, compounded on how much infractions you do. Now, our part as inspectors is we basically gather that information and we put it in a report, and then we send that report to our legal department. And the next thing we know is you'll get a letter of investigation first from us, and then the next letter it goes all the way through. You'll get a letter from the lawyers.
Hey, sorry. I think I'd like to add one more thing to the enforcement issue. If we're out in the field and see someone doing something commercially, and you really didn't know, probably get a letter. There's an education part of our job we really prefer to do. If it's a flagrant violation, you can almost count on it going down a route that's not so pleasant.
You have a question, sir?
Yeah, I just heard that you need a pilot's license to operate the UAS.
Yeah, right.
Commercial.
Right now the NPRM for 107 is still, well, it's not for, it's not yet. The public comments are done right for the NPRM for 107. And we just had actually a meeting with headquarters today to see when that rule becomes into effect. They're looking at June of next year. So until that time that rule becomes into effect, we need a pilot certificate for commercial purposes. Excuse me.
Or pursuing it, right?
Or pursuing it, yeah. Well, actually, once you get the call on the exemption, for you to operate utilizing that foreign exemption, you're going to need to be certificated as a pilot. And not only certificated, but earning qualified. Because you can be in here right now, a pilot that has been flown for 2 or 3 years, and have your coding and your exemption. You're not going to be able to utilize those privileges until you qualify. And then we can talk about getting earning qualified on the side if you want. Is there any other questions? Yes, sir.
My question is going back to the COAs, requiring additional COAs for each airport. Is that something you would negotiate directly with the airport once you've had your Section 333 exemption that you want, or do you have to do that via another amendment?
You're going to have to do another amendment. And start the process for specific to operate that.
Now, for the amendment, if you're only requesting a COA for an exemption you already have, do you know, like, is that going to be like an expedited process? Or is that still going to be, the 2, 3, 4 month process?
I know right now it's a 60 to 90 week process for the COA. It's 120 days on the exemption. If you already have a standard COA, I'm not sure if they would expedite that. I don't know. To tell you folks right now, this time last year there was 0 exemption, 0 COAs. I think we're over 500 plus right now in the county.
Well, I spoke, the person who did my exemption is in touch with the FAA pretty regularly. He said that right now the people moving the exemptions, they're actually considering like blanket COAs so that the people who are filing for an exemption, if you're waiting on yours right now under Section 333, there's a possibility you may get in on the front side of that, and if you get the blanket COA, then it covers you for pretty much any airport, but you still have the requirement to contact and coordinate with them. Is that correct, or what's the?
I'm not sure who you contact with up in the agency.
Well, this is the attorney who prepared my paperwork who has been working with them, but
the blanket.
I'm not positive. Yeah, I'm not positive that that's what he meant. He just said that there's a blanket COA, and I guess he implied, or I inferred that he meant that would be good for an airport. I just have to call for the airport.
Actually, what the blanket COA does is it allows you to operate at 200 feet, but it does not allow you to operate within any airport. You still need to get a separate COA to operate. Ted, want to add anything to that, Ted? Is there any other questions? Actually, if we could go back. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
My question is, I came in a little bit late today, Mark already answered this, but what are the current regulations, if there are any, on operating a UAS greater than 13 miles from shore? Outside of the U.S. airspace?
Or international waters. Especially, I'll have to get back. I don't know. And actually, we're not afraid to say that. We'll find out for you. I don't want to give you bad advice and something happens. Tim told me. What? Tim told me I could do that. I'm Tim, by the way. No.
Hey, sir. Question: would we be allowed to go to another country, film with a drone, come back to the United States and sell that footage?
Let me write down that. And what I'm going to do tonight is, if I can't answer your question, what I'll do is I'll post it back to Sal, and then he'll disseminate it to all you folks.
So it's the same thing, I guess, going in international waters, or if they go to another country, would we be allowed to sell that footage when we return to the U.S.?
And this is also on, so when I'm going to send out all these answers, I'm going to put them out in that listserv, so make sure that you get on that email and you accept that. And I'll also post it on the website.
So we've been talking about commercial operations for profit, but there's also commercial operations where you maybe, say you own a property and you want to surveil your property as part of your business as another tool. Normally, you maybe have a guy who's riding around in a truck doing security, but you do it with a drone instead. How is, it's obviously in part commercial operations, but there's no profit derived direct product. I mean, how is that addressed? They still require a code.
I haven't answered that question actually right now. It's part of your company or in furtherance of your company, even though it's not directly selling footage, that is considered commercial purpose. Another thing I want to add is, other than the questions getting back to Sal, I know there's a lot of you folks here, and there's probably more out there on the World Wide Web. If you could direct all your questions to Sal, and then I think you'd get a great idea since you folks are our club. You can have your own, basically set up your own FAQ, so if somebody comes in and says, hey, hold on, I'm going to ask this question, well, let's go check out our FAQs, and it's already been asked, so we don't have to ask that. Is that all right, Sal?
Fine with me. It saves
people calling you every half hour.
This is, to be honest, this is becoming a full-time job for Tim and I. It's taken off. I think it's great. In the past month, I think it's great. The folks are right there across the beginning of this. So, yeah, they're welcome to the club for the $20 monthly fee, right? Yes.
Just another question, how about if you happen to stumble upon and film something spectacular without commercial purpose or intent, 3 days later, what are your options? So you're on the sell or not?
Okay, so let me get the question. So I'm obvious and I see this unbelievable killer wave, and I'm gonna take a picture of it on my drone, and then 3 days later I'm gonna sell it. I'm gonna sell it. Well, you're doing it for non compensation.
We weren't going out with commercial concept.
I believe I saw somewhere on our FAA web pages, you can sell that photo. Can. If it was no commercial intent, if you're just out taking pictures of the surfing or shore.
By shark.
Right. And it just so happens you saw the picture, I believe you can. I can write it down and we'll get a definitive answer, but I believe you can.
So we'll get back with you on that. And I think the intent of that is not, 3 days later I saw another killer wave, and I took a picture of that and I sold it. And then 1 week later I saw another killer wave. Yeah, and then you start looking at something systemic and that probably won't go well. Yeah, question?
Yeah, I had a question. The argument there 3 days later, but then he is making profit, that's one thing reasonable. But your argument earlier that it benefits the company in the end. Well, a 5-year-old kid learns math, but you don't start taxing him until he works for the company and makes profit. So if someone's doing something as a hobby and making no profit from it, then later on they do benefit from that effort, which almost all hobbyists learn something or better. But I can see that if it's a hobby and they're not getting any profit at all, it should not be public. It should still remain as a hobby. That's okay.
I'm going to get to you folks' questions that Sal sent us, but I think this is a perfect time to bring out the explanation of the difference between a hobbyist and a commercial, and why are we getting thrown into this regulation based on commercial ventures, something that you folks like to do. You got to understand that on the FAA side, if you're doing something for commercial profit, you got to remember you guys are defined as an aircraft. Anything that is for commercial profit, an aircraft has to operate at the highest level of safety when it comes with the FAA. So that's why you folks are being held at a higher level than the regular hobbyists. That's why you folks go through that process. And I think, I'm not saying directly to you folks, but what I think some folks don't understand is they get the co-op, they get the exemption, and do whatever I want to do. To an extent, you have to read the co-op, you have to read what you're exempted, what you can and what you cannot do. Because believe me, that's what will keep you away from us. What I mean by that is, if you follow what you're approved to do, you should get away. There shouldn't be no issue at all. If you go outside of that, that's really bringing trouble upon yourself. So when you folks get your COA, you get your exemption, contact us, and trust me, we're here for you folks. And we tell that to the air carriers and the pilots that we have oversight. If you have a question, come and ask, because I'd rather you ask me a question. Even though if you think it's a dumb, there is no dumb question. I'd rather you ask me than me getting a call from Mrs. Saito saying, hey, what are those guys, how come those guys were flying there when they're not supposed to be over there? Guess what? Then we have to unfortunately call and we need to investigate and figure why did you folks do that? Why did you not follow the procedures that you were approved to do? That's where the trouble starts.
Something that drives us to investigate something unusual. So if Peter calls and says, hey, what are you doing? He's got a COA, I'm going to be doing a drone operation right on Honolulu. May show up, may not. No big deal. But if we get a call that someone's been doing a commercial drone operation in Honolulu for days on end, you haven't got any notice. You can almost bet we're going to show up. So things out of the ordinary, things unusual, we're going to show up. Yes, sir.
We're already at 8 o'clock. I'm gonna let you guys get through all your questions.
Okay.
And then we'll just keep rolling, and then at the end, people have our questions.
Okay, so I'm going to go through the questions now.
Sorry to be a bad guy. Yeah, we'll hold the questions to the audience.
Okay.
Have everybody who sent their questions in advance.
I wanted to say, I'll show you folks two more things on the website. So if you look on the website over here, under civil operations, non-governmental, if you can click on that to your far left.
I'm already there.
Oh, perfect. Scroll all the way down. Actually, go up just a little bit more. A little bit more. Okay, so these are the two types of authorizations you can get to operate commercially. And predominantly, what you folks are going to be doing is Section 333 exemption. There is some more. Far left, all the way to the top, FAQs. If you click on there, whatever question you folks have, it's probably been already asked, so you can always go to it. There's a plethora of information on this UAS site. If you can close this out and go to the FSIMs, the other. Now this is not top secret FAA stuff and how they do their work. It's actually open up. It's open to the public. So if you go all the way to the top where it says 8900.1 under contents, click on that. And go into volume 16, click on that. If you want to know how we're doing and what we're doing, and how we do it, that's where you're going to find it. That's how we do our oversight on you folks on the UAS side of the house. If you have any questions on what we're doing and questioning what we're doing, you'll find it over there. So there's two websites that I showed you folks, okay? And actually, if you folks have any questions, please definitely email it to Sal. And then if we don't have the answers, we'll find somebody that has the answers. Again, like I mentioned, we have a weekly telethon with headquarters regarding UAS, since it's basically, I hate to use the word exploding, but it's exploding. It's an 800-pound gorilla. You're not going to stop it.
And if I can, I mean, that's the whole purpose for the club, to promote safe, responsible, productive use. I mean, in our mission statement, and this is squarely in the heart of it. So please don't use my personal address. Use the hawaiidroneclub@gmail.com address. We have our email, but it's really easy. It's hawaiidroneclub@gmail.com.
So we're going to go over the questions over here. The first one I have is, actually we kind of answered that one, and that was the difference between the money and the flying for base situation. That was asked by Roger Garrett. If you guys don't mind me mentioning your names. This one's from John C. Barker. I read somewhere that if someone takes photos for fun and decides to sell those photos later and did not possess, did not possess a 333 exemption, then they would be violating an FCC regulation and possibly subject to fine or other punishment. I'd like to know if this is true and why the FCC feels that this is something that they should be concerned with. That's an easy answer for us, because we're not part of the FCC. We cannot speak on behalf of the Federal Communication Commission, so you're going to have to direct the questions to them on that. Donnie Klutz, what are the parameters for filing the 333 exemption? Is that LLC or business required in order to file? For us right now, we're not aware that you need an LLC or business license, but if you're receiving compensation, you will need to register your business with the state of Hawaii. That's just like it, right? The next question, and then Tim will take over. As a beginner and the godfather of the drone code, don't fly out of the line of sight, stay under 400 feet, away from crowds, etc. I've become concerned with the mainland and international media reports of irresponsible RC aircraft pilots hindering emergency responders or flying near airports. What efforts can we expect from the FAA to prevent this behavior in the future? and are the few going to ruin the future of a hobby? Our response to that is the reason why we're actually out here tonight, is to educate folks. I explained to you folks the responsibility of our field office. And the last thing is, unfortunately, our rules, our regulations are written in blood. So anytime there's a new regulation that comes out, there's something traumatic that happened to put those things in place.
The next one is amateur is not paid for this time or expense while doing amateur radio, amateur drone development, or amateur hobby. On the other hand, anyone who is paid for their time or expenses is no longer considered amateur. Is this a valid definition of an amateur for the FAA for flying drones? An amateur is defined as a hobbyist. The next one. The next one, the question is, wonder if when live stream starts working for real, is streaming for live illegal for profit? If there's compensation, it's considered commercial operations. Will sharing drone-produced videos that pay 50 cents per 1,000 views on YouTube be legal? If there's compensation, it's considered a commercial operation.
The FAA backed off of that. Initially they were, and then they backed off of that because
individuals aren't just, if you get 1 million, 2 million clicks on somebody watching a video, then they pay you. They backed off of that. Initially they were cracking down, and then they backed off of these individuals as amateurs posting their own videos. They have no control over how many people watch them, right? We can follow up on that question. We know how that the whole YouTube, you get all a bunch of hits and they start paying you. But I think you got to start looking at, well, what is the intent of posting that on YouTube? Is it the purpose of to get hits, to get compensated? Because that's the whole that's one of the perks of YouTube. You post something, I had a killer wave, which you took 3 days ago, and then you start posting it, and then you start getting 1 million hits, and you start getting paid outrageous money. What was your intent on putting that on YouTube? But now, there you go. But see, but that falls back on the FAA side. Now we got to prove intent, and folks did that. Okay. This next question is: what are the requirements for operating a drone to do bridge inspection? Well, I guess one of the questions is: are you doing it for hire? If you're going to do it for compensation, then you obviously need to have the colon and the exemption. The other question you want to look at is that within an airport that you need to contact Debbie's folks for? If it is, then you need another colon to get and operate over there. Next question you want to ask yourself: does it belong to somebody? Who's the landowner of that property? You ain't going to just go anywhere and start flying a machine, especially if it's on private property. And then again, you need to notify the state. This question is actually for Debbie. What information will the airport tower require when requesting to fly within 5 miles of the airport? Name and number. We answered the next question already. When would the NPRM Part 107 possibly be in effect? We mentioned that earlier. And this was straight from headquarters. They're looking at June of next year. Pushing that through Congress right now. So hopefully that's when it becomes effective.
Okay, the next one is: who could I contact at the FAA to resolve questions about petitions for COA to operate a drone? There's a web link on the FAA UAS website. It's probably the best place to go. And we'll get these posted on your website as well, so we'll have the exact email address. The last one is: who would I contact at the FAA to get a drone inspected? With regards to the drone activities that we're talking about tonight, we don't get involved. The only time the FAA gets involved is when we're talking about special airworthiness certificates. UAS that are typically operated by Boeing, Raytheon, Grumman, those companies. The last question is, are there any special regulations about operating a drone within the proximity of a military base? How close to a military facility can I operate a drone? Who would I contact at the military base to get more information? I have no idea. We're going to find out.
That's all the questions that we received on the, oh, do you have an answer for that, Ted?
I think we've run the questions now, but I just wanted to put one more category of operation on the table here for future discussion maybe tonight. We talked about commercial or civil that you just went through. We talked about hobbyists before that. There's a division in the middle called R&D, Research and Development, at the university level. And just to tell you what's going on there, the FAA has selected 6 test sites that are composed of 12 states that are designated as UAS and UAV test sites. Hawaii is one of those in conjunction with Alaska, who has the actual other transaction authority with the FAA, and Oregon's part of that as well. So those 3 states, Oregon, Hawaii, and freeing up to Alaska, are considered an entity by the FAA with regard to a test site function. One of the recent developments in that is that those states can issue their own calls and self-certify their own aircraft and their own operators, as long as it's within the state geometric dimensions or limits and operates under 200 feet and daytime VFR. And of course, the usual rules of airport proximity apply as well. So the state test sites have that capability. And that's not for compensation, it's under PAO, Public Aircraft Ops, that's really for R&D. But the message to me is that if there's interest out there in developing sensors and developing image extraction analysis procedures and things of that type where the value of the UAS is coming forth, that want to be developed in conjunction with university team, university program, those are super opportunities, and UH should have the paperwork completed. We always say within a month. This is UH, but we're going to win a football game too. And so anyway, in the near future, okay, before 107 pops, we should have the UH operating under the University of Alaska authority with the FAA. And so think of the research opportunities you want, bring them forward to somebody in UH from me if you like, and Sal, and we'll find the right department in the UH to generate a student program that can then operate under that non-commercial, non-compensated category of call.
John Porter, who is basically a researcher. John, does that answer your question in terms of being able to do it for research purposes? Okay. I have a question from online, and this is from Pat Fulbert. Just curious, but is there any information as to why the FAA has a railroad company, BNSF, working beyond line of sight for UAS, and none of the FAA UAS test sites got that to do? Why isn't the rest of, why isn't that why we have the test sites? So I mean, apparently I think the question is, BNSF has been approved to go beyond line of sight, but it's not doing it through the test sites. And why is that?
Again, I'm not with the FAA, but very close to 2 million of those guys who did that work, and I can tell you what they've told us personally. BNSF does not have beyond line of sight authorization yet. They've developed a program in conjunction with the FAA and CNN, I believe, or a bunch of media experts, and the idea is to find a way to get to beyond line of sight. But that's nowhere near saying you're in beyond line of sight now. So getting a program going, moving forward is what that's all about. And I will say on behalf of the FAA, what they've told us at the top of the FAA is that's the sort of thing we want to hear. We really want to push this forward. Bring us your bright ideas that take beyond what we ever might have thought you could do, and let's bring it forward and give it a whirl. If we can find a way that what you're proposing can be tested an increment at a time, and push forward, and then we begin getting standards and PSOs that cover the operational requirements and certification requirements. That's wonderful. That's what we're all about. So, but you guys did big. And the second thing they said is that guess who runs the country? It's Congress. We're the FAA. We get told what to do by Congress. So the best thing for you to do is get your congressional delegation. In fact, in this University of Hawaii, Alaska thing I mentioned, we're going to think of using what's called the Center of Excellence, which is 15 different universities in 15 different states, and try to promote even an early release of 107 just to start testing some of these things. But bright ideas that your congressman understands will generate jobs or economic competitive superiority or better life, quality of life, better whatever it might be. That's what Congress cares about. Congress will find a way to use equivalent safety or similar argument to direct the FAA to say, hey, for this narrow niche, go forward. In fact, it was the film industry that got together and said, what makes more sense, having a UAV carrying a camera or having a helicopter full scale fly over a movie site with a cameraman hanging on the side? Which one is safer? And so that wasn't hard, right? So that generated this entire 333 concept of equivalent safety-based exemptions. So anyway, I've said enough of it, but bright ideas go a long way if Congress will back them, turn it into a program that has value at the end, and that's what works. And the FAA embraced that and has embraced that in several cases. The BNSF item you mentioned was totally embraced by the FAA. They're part of it. That's what they want. They don't want to be stuck with the constraints of the job. They want to get beyond that and go forward. So I don't want to put words in the FAA's mouth too much, but that's what they were telling me, so I just pass it on.
I'm going to hop in here for 1 second. In speaking about the advocacy piece, to reiterate earlier today, we were asking for a chair for the advocacy position. If this is something you're passionate about and you're interested in both your personal development as well as the industry in general, that is exactly the type of position that would be perfect for you. And that is with Mike's letter that he worked for the club is a letter that basically everybody in here would sign, and it would go to congressman or Governor ADA and go to the political figures, help work that on the political side. So I know we got some questions. If you do have a question, then I have here's all you guys for a question.
This goes with a question on federal preemption. What authority to state and local governments have to regulate the use of drones? Because there's what I heard recently was I think it was the governor of
not touching it. That's a hot potato. I'm not going to speak on behalf of this meeting. I'll get a knock at 3 in the morning.
Okay, I got two from online, so if you're online, thanks for watching, keep them coming. This is a very specific question. Has the FAA updated November Juliet Oscar 7210.873, which I'll help you, is the emergency use of UAS in airspace where there is a threat of life.
When there's a what?
Threat, where there is a threat to life.
Like an emergency purpose?
For emergency.
If you have okay, I can answer that. If there's if you have a co-op and something catastrophic is happening, and you want to utilize it based on an emergency, you still got to get an emergency co-op to operate outside of the co-op that you have. Go ahead.
Thanks, it's very good.
Now, my partner, George Purdy, has been working with FAA with regard to emergency services used primarily for almost 2 years now. And the process that he understands that is being worked to be put in place is that if need for a drone for emergency service use, that rapid notification and issuance of NOTAM basically block off airspace, notify folks that are flying, folks that are getting ready to fly, to basically carve out that piece of space to conduct those operations in that area. Because there's, in an emergency, there's no time. Well, that was something that they were working towards. To Sal's point, not sure where that's at right now.
Actually, on the emergency call, there's a direct individual that you can contact, and they will issue that emergency call to you. So it's not like you're going to go through the whole process and send a letter saying, hey, I want to do an emergency call, which by the time they get it, it's going to be non-emergency. Yeah, so the process right now is there's a contact, and I have two names which can talk later on, and you contact these two individuals, and they're the ones that can issue the emergency call.
And just so, sorry for the meeting out here, so that emergency go is for, like we talked about, civil operations, not, or that includes the government department. So like for the police department, the fire department, would they have to do that same process if they only fly UAS?
Well, that's a separate question. I'm not sure when it comes to the public side. Okay. Yeah, for the government entity, I don't have a response to that, but we can get an answer for that. Well, is there anybody on the public use side? No, Jennifer might have a question regarding that, but we can talk offline on that. Oh, okay. Don't take emergency call for a public operator. We're going to have to get back to that question.
Okay, any more questions? All right.
Okay, real quick, what's the minimum altitude before entering FAA airspace? And sometimes clients only want like a 20-yard shot over the real estate. And what is the regulation of flying on private property versus public? And obviously not government, but like private property. And with the film permits for the Flight Film Permit Office, when I called them, they said there's only one company that's legally approved to shoot drones, and they're based on the Big Island. That's another step in shooting legally and commercially. You got to have a film permit on top of getting these things as well.
You know, the film permit, you get that with basically the YST film office. But on the FAA side, if you're going to be doing moving motion pictures, there's a moving manual that you folks have to submit for approval. And not only that, but if you look at your exemption will show if you can utilize that for a closed set or not. And the definition of a closed set is if everybody in here is part of the filming, then you can operate lower than that 200 feet limitation. But with that said, you need that in your exemption to operate as a closed set. Not only that, but everybody in here is going to have to sign a waiver form allowing that to take place. So if you're going to be doing filming the triathlon and saying, well, I'm doing this as a closed set. So you're telling me you're going to get 1,000+ signatures saying that they're going to, be liable. The company's not going to be liable if this drone comes and backs you in the head and it's broken. I don't know. So you got to look at that way too. So if you're thinking of doing a motion film or a commercial, you got to have to start off with you got to get a movie manual and you got to submit that to headquarters as well. That doesn't come to our office.
And then I think the other part of Nathan's question was, where does the airspace start? And I think the answer is something where you can have a reasonable expectation of usable space. So at your house, if you put up a flagpole, the airspace doesn't start, as soon as you walk out your front door, you have within 10 or 15 feet above you, or does FAA airspace start?
We're talking about Class G airspace. It's normally.
I'm sorry about this one,
700 feet or 1,200 feet, depending on the.
I'm sorry?
It's either 700 feet or 1,200 feet.
That's defined as Class G, which is uncontrolled airspace.
And that is surface to 700 feet, or the underlying area of the airspace above.
Yes.
Okay, another question. Has the FAA addressed the film officer's request for the, I'm sorry, there's a delay, yes. We've got it.
Is there any other questions? We can take maybe 2 more questions. Break? If everyone wants a break, you can break for 5 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I do want, there's some closing points I want to make for everybody here, so is it okay if everybody takes a break and comes back, and we'll round off the last 10 minutes? Okay. Guys, thank you, round of applause for our. And if you want to leave, you can raise that hand.
So far, I have my family.
Yeah. I used to work that road that's. Yeah, I used to work where I think well, most of the
I do a lot of commercial ladder. Standard different line.
But then wouldn't the manufacturing do it? Wouldn't you think even if you do the training in the high Taking all these notes.
You guys were usually over there somewhere across the street at another place?
Yeah, Sal decided to do it here.
Yeah, he said it was just because they were already reserved. This was already reserved by somebody else or something.
Oh.
So I told him to come down and check out our place. He could use this. Drones Plus. Drones Plus.
You want to write that down?
It's a pretty good size room. I mean, we sell drones and stuff, right? But it's a couple of street things that get some time. Right? A little shopping center over here.
Yeah. Are you looking for people to hire?
Right now we have 3. And then there's a business truck. We'll see what's working out. Right now we have this huge space, and we only do it like that.
It's air conditioned.
It's air conditioned. We can pizza.
And more.
And the manager. Yeah, we just opened Friday. Yeah, LA Property.
Perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah, Mike's going down to the we keep everything.
I have no idea. He just says turn on.
I turned it off. We got watch that stuff in today too. Yeah, we'll open this week. And we're selling all of our Inspires. It was wasn't expecting that. People just walking by and
So are you actually, I need to picture you looking at something, you said you're applying convention center.
Convention center.
Are you next to the outstation bar on the attic on that side of the street?
No, or on the other side. There's 7-Eleven, I think Grill, Subway, the hair place, and then we're the one on the corner. It used to be like a temporary hire place or something.
Oh, okay.
Big store on the corner.
Now, when you say big, how does it compare to this?
It's not this large, but it's, I don't know, about 1,500, 2,000 square feet. It's decent. We have our stuff in the first half. I can see DJI gave us one of the big cute nets that for somebody to do a test flight with. They got me down. And you can try it. But I was thinking, what's his name? Is the guy in the little brown shirt right there? He's one of your foreign moderators. So he stopped by yesterday. He said you were having a meeting. I said, come by. This is actually kind of a neat service.
Yeah, they have all this is kind of unique gas that you can bring into
I know it's coming. I like what they're doing. It's very, very fun. And the people who are interested in down here, they're different, right? And that's how it is. They're creative entrepreneurs.
I'll probably want to stop by your store
anytime. We're open every day, 10 to 7.
So you really
Hey everybody, we got everybody can take their seats. We'll basically conclude here. Thanks everybody for Just have another round of applause. And then, like we said, we'll get all the questions, put them in the question and answer list. And anybody who has stuff online as well can send it off to me. We'll put that on the website. So, did you guys have any questions? Okay. I did want to have Richard, someone else just introduce himself quickly as the regional.
Can't hear me, so I'm not here to get people to join the AMA. We are a good organization. We have 190,000 members in the United States. We do interact with these guys here a lot in Washington. We have an insurance policy, $2 million liability, and somebody needs down with their helicopter, whatever you want to call it. Insurance is there for it. Rates are going up. We have a 3-year deal now. I mean, last year's rate, next 2 years, we want it up. And what's good guys? So, do what you want. Up to you. We're going to
Insurance is $3 million cost. Fine regulation.
That's exactly right. All members covered.
And as long as you're operating within the AUAC
safety guidelines. Right? That's a good deal. That's one of the reasons why I've been a member of the AMA since 1972. It's not every board. But it's nice to have the insurance. It really is. It really is. And they're actually even at $75 a ton. It allows the magazine with it. Gosh, it's not that I used to. Anyway. But I have my cards. If anybody has any questions for the AMA or they want to know more about it, you can call. And I just want it. So grab a card and you know what you guys need.
Okay, quickly, a few things. Our next club meetings are typically the third Thursday of the month. So this Thursday, the last was an oddity. So the next one should be August 20th. So just put that down in your notes. It's probably not going to be here. This is a very nice facility, and we appreciate Sean and everybody from the Kakako Bora basically being patient with us. Normally, our meetings at the Soto Hub, which is a space just literally on the other side of the Fisher's Warehouse here, in a small building right across where the old Eat Street used to be. So potentially expected there. Another gentleman has also offered up Drones Plus, which is a retail space right next to the Ala Moana Mall. So long story short, stay tuned. It's going to be around the downtown area, and we realize that's a little bit inconvenient for people on the west side. So probably in future months, there might be a meeting on the west side, if at least some sort of social in honor of the people who are out there. So, with that being said, our scheduled speaker for next month is going to be a gentleman named Michael Grubbs. He's an amateur weather enthusiast extraordinaire, and he really should work for the National Weather Service. This guy is just geeks out on weather. So when I asked him the opportunity to come talk about microclimates, weather here on the islands, he jumped at it. And I think this is a great opportunity in terms of that education piece that we talked about, especially for these small UAS aircraft. They're affected by, I mean, some of them 5 or 10 knots, and it's definitely 15, 20 knots. So to understand how the trades work, where the winds might come from, if you get a micro downburst, or how you be flying in the valley, this would be more of a pilot type of lesson. But then in future months, remember, we are accepting other opportunities for other people. We get maybe in a future month, we'd like to talk on aerial data collections. So, if you have an expertise, bring it to the club, and together we can all get smarter. Mike, do you want to make your last closing comment on that September invitation?
Oh, yeah, real quick. So, Portrait Ted Ralston, one of the things that we wanted to do here. Yeah, one of the things we wanted to do here in Hawaii was bring together drone professionals
It's not meant to be exclusive of hobbyists at all. It was just, it isn't. We have a limited number of seats that we can probably do for any of the venues. We're looking at 40 to 50. We're going to send out an invitation. It's meant to more as a meet and greet, who's doing what, whether it's new age research, whether it's folks trying to do TV and movie filming, photography, sales, and stuff like that. If you, for some reason, I don't even have a full list. We don't even know who's all out there. That's part of the problem. So it's initial stab at trying to figure out who the hell's out there, who's working towards this as a business, beyond just a hobby, someone who's like fun and working for business too. But we want to bring together communities so that we can promote this as a business. We can identify people, great flyers, sitting right in the front row, that we can help further them along and find them jobs in the community, with the companies that are trying to expand, have the 333 exemption, need somebody to get qualified as a pilot, looking for somebody as a pilot, support the University of Hawaii and a lot of their research efforts, and unify a community that will speak with some professional authority to help bring jobs to Hawaii, to bring tax revenue to Hawaii, and then also to be a bit of a draw for our children to come back to Hawaii. One of the things that's always a brain drain here is that we send them off to college in the mainland a lot of times, and what is there to come back to? So when you get a high-tech degree, you look back to Hawaii, there's not a draw here. So working to build an industry that's a draw to bring their kids back here. So those are some of the things we
Okay, everybody, thanks for coming. If anybody wants to be volunteers for the air show, I still need, like I said, 4 volunteers, 2 people per day. So if anybody is interested, you can. Joe, we got 1 person there. You have demands. Tim, we got 2 people. Great. We only need 2 more people. And we'll be good. It's going to be at Ford Island. It's free. It's going to be inside, so you don't have to be out in the sun all day. It's going to be one of the hangars. And there's going to be some great people. And I know there's a demonstration RC helicopter group. Yeah, right. And then in addition to that, there's a local, Birds of Paradise. Are you Birds of Paradise? So you're going to be performing? Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then our club will be there. We're not going to be flying. We're just going to have our booth set up there with our presentation and some material, education material. Basically, letting everybody know all the FAA, the do's and don'ts about it. Okay, everybody, thanks again. Give me some money to meet you. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming.
You know what I'm doing? So, but the thing is, I'm not using some of the traditional photographic techniques. What they do is they put one camera. Oh, the other, I don't. I use this camera, go straight to an recording system. Like this one, goes straight to the recording system. That's what I'm doing. I'm finding it. So what I'm doing is dynamic. So you have two cameras that are contributing to this. And so we're trying to get footage of these but I recently showed that that's why when I haven't done wave height, but as far as tracking the motion, everything's really done now. But the wave height, it seems like it should work. I don't see why it's just, the cameras are not perfect, so the two waves are not exactly intersect. So I have a manipulation. But I did the average position for this two well, you've done this. You're more on the. I haven't done the photographic side, which is what I'm talking about. But you've been doing it for years. I mean.
The only thing that I've noticed is that it's isolated that it's very quick cameras are using y-axis. It gets tough, and that's when you get down the y-axis.
I'm not doubting you. I'm just trying to think why would that
I don't know the reason behind it.
You need more than 2 pixels to define the turn that more than better, I guess.
Yeah.
See what these guys do, they're doing more than just they're actually converting camera calibration.
The software, I'm really just technical side of how it works. It's not my whole experience. I just want to input
what's your background?
No, I don't photograph. I work. An architect works with construction photography. So I do a lot of 3D modeling works. And I kind of do a lot of but in products, quite so I started realizing how much work, how much work
It's a lot of work. Shouldn't be
Okay, everybody, keep walking and hold up the chairs and talk to the walls.
Oh yeah. Did you yeah. So we were in line to get yeah. Yeah, it's not bad. It's yeah, lots of people use it.
Let's say you want to do a baby here.
What?
John, for the book, for the graduation.
Yeah. Iolani's having a graduation alumni party next week. We've had like birthday parties. It's for the same. It just depends on what organization and then what's representing because it's like 3 tiers of pricing. But we have church too.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Hey, Tim, you know what the clipboard is? The clipboard for everybody to sign up.
I'm sorry?
The clipboard to have everyone sign up. Sorry, but we're That's what the cube success. I gotta tell you what I did. I can give you a hug, man. Thank you, man. That was a huge success. Yeah, yeah, and I mean everybody learned a lot. Gene, thank you. You contributed as well. I mean that was a big success. Yeah. Yeah.
This is just like initially.
Sign up. Yeah, the FAA has requested that we not.
Perfect. Thank you. But he decided not to. See you, Chris. See you. Hey, what up? You did credit card? Yeah, I do. I do online. Okay.
Do you have some stuff on the website to have paid membership?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just have to go run it through my business. Yeah.
You got hot outside.
So there's a girl like that? Your lady? She like it?
Yeah, she likes it. Yeah. Everyone tells me I look so much younger now.
Yeah, you look a lot younger. They're not seeing this.
I know, that's great. Yes, people so much more knowledgeable than me.
Yeah.
It's like area down, like maybe like mobile spectral, like down to the centimeter, GIS and stuff. But they use sensors. Do they have sensors? Giant sensors and it's like the boat sensor. It's not
a building there?
I just say it's flying.
Oh.
It's a very small company. It's like a 3 So.
A lot of really cool stuff.
Yeah,
Marco, good idea.
Yeah. Mark, yeah. So yeah, I see him over the park when I live.
Yeah. They say it gets good.
Oh yeah. So they were
I'll see you on Saturday. Yeah. Looking forward to it. Hopefully. Okay. All right. I'll take a picture. Yeah, we've been there. Awesome. All right, see you then. Basically, you want to take stuff and start doing it.
So that's why I have no
Possibly by next year, he's saying, by next year, hopefully, you won't get a pilot license.
No, you're not.
Yeah, right there. That store's 24/7.
I just went to pick up these forms at the manager. Yeah, on South Street. We don't have a printer, and she was going to mail me these waivers. It's gone already, so just email it to you. On South How did that turn out? That kind of that happened. How did that go? Okay. But you know what you were telling me is that it's really because of regulations. But when do they give you a vote?
Oh yeah, as long as you do it appropriately. Like, the thing is, Sal's also saying that you educate yourself, it's responsible, whatever.
You have to take a training course, or
That's only if you want to do something commercial.
is it kind of like also like a gun or a register or
But if you're general hobbyist, you're gonna be like just looking straight. That's all. I think that some of these guys, some of these drones are expensive.
what is the purpose of the drone? Basically, I mean, it can be you know used for good in the fact that searching according to other than that.
It's an added dimension to having photography or whatever. Utilizing video for that aspect.
Oh yeah, it would be good for itself. But
That's kind of like still there for right now. I guess how it is. It's nice. Because the ones I have is like $50. $50 drone when you come out on these guys. Some drones are like they're huge. Huge drones and you can do real time video, real time on your tablet, TVs. There's a military application.
oh yeah. What was the kind of drone that they sent into the world? What was that kind of drone? You know, into the White House area, you know?
Yeah, that was yeah, I remember that one.
People get it.
I don't know how that
Yeah, no, you're right. Did you get is that the sign?
Yeah, we got one from out front.
So yeah, we were trying to figure out if that Transformers bag in the back of your car is yours, or you're a big Transformers fan. When we were taking the water out of the car, you're a Transformers fan.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, probably if not.
I have a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I was like, okay, we figured.
Although this club, this club promotes, I mean, a lot of geek fits. I mean, we were a geek fits.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is a very academic organization.
Oh, okay. I believe that. So, I mean, if it wasn't for the drones, then you would be in like gaming or like Minecraft or
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, one of our guys does this thing. He does first person. It's basically like a virtual reality. You have a little monitor in there, and you're playing a video game, except that it's really an actual real aircraft.
Oh wow.
But because it's like you're controlling it here, you're just looking at the direction. And that got him away from the game. Because the stakes look like the
It is.
It's more risky.
Oh yeah, the stakes are higher.
Yeah.
Or but I mean, I've had like relations with them where girls like whichever guys, the guys spend most time in like Sim City or
Yeah.
I forgot the other, but where actually like money is used and
that's crazy.
But they have another whole life.
Yeah. Yeah, Joe does all that. Joe probably spends 40, 50 hours a week naked in his bedroom playing.
With your cam, and then people log on for membership.
No, hey, Tim, there was an extension cord in the PowerPoint.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay, yeah. Oh, got it. So you're both together? Ford Island, I'm going to put your names down. I'm going to put your names down now. It's easier to not. Yeah, this is Oh, hey, Tim, man, here's your camera. I'm happy this worked. Yeah, Eston, man, you saved the day with putting everything online there. I guess nobody.
Well, just people start with.